In today's video, I'm going to attempt to survive 100 days in Fallen. So basically, any block or animal that's in Minecraft can fall from the sky. This could be grass blocks, pigs, or even diamonds. Cool, right? So, can I survive these 100 days in Fallen in hardcore Minecraft? Keep watching and find out. So here we are on day 1. As I looked up, I could see all these blocks crashing down towards me. This wasn't good. Oh no, I got hit by one of these blocks, which did some serious damage. Crikey. So I played it safe, trying to dodge the blocks the best that I could. And luckily, I was able to find myself a few pieces of wood. So I used my bare hands and collected myself a few pieces of wood. And also I gathered up a few pieces of dirt, so I could make my very own shelter. And I could be safe from all these fallen blocks. Anyways, I crafted myself a crafting table and a few sticks and made a wooden pickaxe. And then I used that wooden pickaxe to get myself some stone. So I used that stone to make myself a few stone tools, like a pickaxe and also an axe. I was very happy. And there it is, we got some stone tools, which is pretty nice. But there was one thing I was missing, I needed some food. So I went around looking to see if I could find myself some. And I was able to find this apple, which is pretty nice. Even better, I was able to find myself some iron and also some lapis. So I made sure to gather up this because I would be needing this. So I smelted up all that iron that I collected, and I decided to make myself my very own helmet, so I could be safe from all these fallen blocks. There it is, I am now pretty safe. And I decided to make a few chests so I could store some of my items as well. And then I noticed it was raining, so I thought why not go out and see if I could find anything else. So after a little bit of exploring, I stumbled across this bush, and as I broke this bush, it dropped some wheat seeds. This was great, so I headed back home and made myself a very simple wheat farm. Very nice. And then the next day I stumbled across this mob spawner. I wonder if I could use this for something later on. But then I found myself some diamonds. So I went back home as quick as I could and made myself an iron pickaxe. And then I gathered up my first diamond. I was super happy. So I spent the rest of day 2 just clearing out a bit of space. And on day 3, I decided to climb back up and see what else I can find. And I could see this horse was in danger. So I decided to save this horse. And there you go. You should be safe now. Hey, an emerald. I found my first emerald, which is pretty nice. And then I found this mob spawner. And as I went to go and place in this block, I fell. But luckily, there was a sweet berry bush here, which saved my life. Wow. So after that, I headed back to my base and cleared out a bit more space, removing all these blocks, and I have to say, that's a lot better. Day 4, I decided to make myself loads and loads of ladders because I would be using these ladders to easily get up and down. And yeah, that makes it a lot more easier. Once I was up here, I thought I'd go and check around to see if I could find anything else. And I found this barrel, and as I opened up this barrel, I found myself a enchanted golden apple, and also there was some iron. So I used that iron to make myself an iron chest plate and also some iron leggings. And of course, I thought, why not make myself a fishing rod? So that's what I did. And I did a bit of fishing. And the next day, I got myself some leather boots. Very nice. And later on that day, I had a plan. I thought, why not make a bit of a platform up here? So I used up all my cobblestone that I had to make up a bit of a platform. And then, as I was getting myself some more materials, I found this sheep. And this was a perfect opportunity to make myself a sheep farm. So I carefully made him a way down, and I took him to his very own new home. And I could tell the sheep was very happy. Just look at him. So I made a few shears to shear up the sheep. But sadly, he only dropped one bit of wool, which was okay. Yes, the next day I wanted to spend a couple of days decorating my base. And here it is. It looks pretty cool if I do say so myself. Over here we have a bit of a farm. This is basically where we grow our wheat and carrots, which is pretty nice. Over here, of course, we have a sheep farm with some bamboo, which is pretty cool. And finally, over here we have some storage, like our chests, a crafting table, a barrel, and my bed. So I made a diamond pickaxe and gathered up loads and loads of obsidian. I would be needing loads of this stuff. Alright, that should be plenty of obsidian. It's time to make the nether portal. So I placed in all the obsidian one by one, and there it was. So I lit it up, and I went through. And as I got through to the other side, surprisingly, I was right next to a fortress. which is pretty nice. So I went around the fortress looking to see what I could find, and I found myself some netherwort. I would be needing this for potions, so I made sure to gather up loads of this stuff. But then I found myself these chests, which had like animal spawn eggs in them. I suppose this was the map developer making it a bit more easier for the players to get animals and stuff. I'm not complaining, I'll take these. Anyways, my journey continues across the nether, and I found myself this chest, and it contained another enchanted golden apple, which was insane. But then I found myself this bastion. I knew what I had to do. I entered this bastion, and I could see there was all this shiny gold. But even better, there was this chest, which had a netherite ingot in it. This was incredible. So I happily gathered up all the gold, and I headed back to the fortress, and found myself a few more eggs, which was quite nice. Anyways, I finally travelled home, and placed in a few of those eggs that I collected, and there it is. We now have a bit of an animal farm, which is pretty nice. So I spent the next couple of days clearing out a bit of space. I wanted to make another second floor here, but the thing was, I didn't know what to use this for just yet. Maybe later on I can think of something. Hey, and check this out. I didn't know this, but you can actually extend the platform out, which is pretty cool. So I decided to make a tree farm. I needed loads of wood, so I placed in a few saplings. The next day, as I was placing in some dirt, I looked to my left and I could see there was this villager just staring at me. This was perfect. So I decided to trap up this villager because I would be using this villager to trade later on. Hey, and also I found this sheep. So I decided to bring him back to the sheep farm. And the next day I was ambushed by all these mobs. There were so many of them. These creepers did some serious damage. They ruined my nether portal. Also ruined a bit of my base up, which was not very nice. But then, as I went to get myself some more materials, and I made my way back down to my base, I could see there was so many mobs in my base. This was not good. So I had to stand there all night and wait for morning. So that's what I did. And I could see there was hundreds of mobs. I mean, look. There's so many. But luckily, with my pro skills, I was able to take down all these mobs. Hey, another villager. Perfect. I can now make a villager farm. Hey, and also I noticed that the Ravager was still here. Yeah, this Ravager cannot be here. But as I was taking down the Ravager, a creeper exploded and set him free. I couldn't believe this. So I sprinted for my life, and luckily I had an ender pearl, so I threw that. Finally, after a long fight, I was able to take down the Ravager. Now I think it's time we do a bit of trading with some of the villagers. So I traded with some of the villagers, get myself a few emeralds, which is pretty nice if I do say so myself. Hey, and also I found this wolf. So I thought, why not go and tame him? So that's what I did, and there it is. We now have a pet wolf. Wow. You know that villager farm I was talking about earlier? Yeah, I think it's time we build that. So that's what I did. So placing some stone bricks, made a few farms, and just like that, it is now done. And here it is. Yeah. Doesn't look too bad, honestly. I mean, it's not the best thing in the world, but it'd do for now. Anyways, I made a few boats, and I transferred the villagers across to their new home. And I could see they was very happy. So I gave them a bit of food, and I decided to leave them alone and go and make a well. So that's what I did. I made a very simple well. So I used a bit of cobblestone, some black stone walls, oak stairs, and some black stone stairs as well, which looked pretty nice. And finally, I placed in all the water. And I have to say, I think it looks pretty cool. We got some lanterns around and also a few bushes. Yes, well, the next day I went back to the nether and I wanted to get myself some paper. I thought these bastions might contain some paper, but sadly, they did not. But I did find some other good things like a load of gold and also some other chests, which had some pretty good stuff. Hello, Panda. I found myself this panda, which is pretty cool. We have a visitor. We have a wandering trader. And as I went to go and see what he traded, I couldn't believe my very own eyes. He traded some sugarcane. Wow. Now the thing is, I kind of kept running out of iron quickly, so I decided why not make myself my very own iron farm. So that's what I did. I placed in a bunch of glass and made myself a very, very simple iron farm. That should do it. And here it is. Nothing special, but it works. Here's all the iron. Basically, it's collected up here. And all we have to do now is pretty much wait. So, once I'm waiting, I thought, why not make the enchantment table? So, that's what I did and placed it in. And there it was. The enchantment table. But the thing is, we do not have any bookshelves. So it's time to get ourselves some bookshelves. So I gathered up loads of carrots. Hey, and quickly, I wanted to go and check up on the iron farm. And it was working, which was awesome. Anyways, I went back to grinding, and this took well longer than I expected. Getting all these carrots and wheat wasn't so easy. A stack and a half of emeralds for 10 bookshelves? This is going to take ages. Well then, after a long time, I was able to get myself enough bookshelves. So I placed in all the bookshelves, and there it was, now finished. And of course, I wanted to see what enchants I could get. And luckily, I got myself this fortune-free pickaxe. So I thought, why not go and get myself a load of diamonds? So that's what I did. Okay then, that should be plenty of diamonds. It's time to make a full set of diamond armor. I crafted myself a chest plate, helmet, leggings, and also a pair of boots. Hey, and also, I can't forget about tools, so I made sure to make them as well. As you can see, we have quite a lot of levels. So I wanted to do a bit of enchanting, and I got myself some pretty good stuff. But sadly, I didn't quite have enough levels for all my equipment, so I went back to the Nether and gathered up loads more. Alright, that should do it. 43 levels should be enough. So I got home and enchanted 2 bows. Getting myself some very good enchants. Enchanted another pickaxe. Getting myself a fortune 2, efficiency 4, and I'm breaking 3 on that, which is pretty nice. And there it was. We now have a full set of enchanted diamond armor. But then, the next day, as I was getting myself some sugarcane, I was ambushed by all these pillagers. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't see, so I panicked, and luckily, I was able to find my base. That was pretty close. But luckily for me, I had my new enchanted bow, so I used that on the pillagers, taking them out pretty easily. That showed the pillagers not to mess with me. Anyway, so I thought I'd go and trade with some of the villagers once again. I wanted to get myself a mending book, and luckily, luck was on my side. I got myself a mending book. So I happily purchased one of those and put that on my pickaxe right away. And there it is. We now have a ultimate pickaxe. Wow. Anyways, after that, I headed back to the Nether because I wanted to get myself loads and loads of wood because I wanted to make myself so many chests. And surprisingly, there was a nearby bastion, which was pretty nice. So I looted up that and found myself pig step. I'll take this. Anyways, I gathered up a load more wood and I headed back home. And what I wanted to do was to make a bit of like an infinite block collector, but sadly, that did not work. Oh well. So instead I thought, why not go and make myself a potato farm? But the thing was, I did not have any potatoes, and the only way for me to get potatoes would be by if a zombie dropped them. So I thought, why not use that mob spawner I found on day 2 to make myself a zombie grinder. And luckily, it didn't take me too long to get myself a potato, which was pretty nice. And there it was. I placed in the potato and I was super happy. We now have potatoes. Okay, I think it looks pretty good, a potato farm, if I do say so myself. Well then, with all of that out the way, I think it's time we go back to the Nether once again. And this time, I wanted to get myself some blaze powder. But as I took out this wither skeleton, he dropped a wither head. Wow. And as I took out this other one as well, he dropped one as well. Anyways, I went around the Nether, getting myself loads of blaze powder. I seriously needed loads of this stuff. Alright, that should be plenty of blaze powder. It's time to go to the warped forest and get myself some ender pearls. Yes, that should do it. So I get home and make some brewing stands. And I think it's now time to make a bit of a brewing station. So I used a variety of blocks, like a bunch of warped wood, quartz blocks, black stone, and also a bit of stone bricks. And of course, you cannot forget about leaves. So I made sure to place those in as well. And finally, here it is. Wow, it looks pretty cool. We got all the bamboo and also some lanterns, which definitely make it look a lot nicer. And then after that, I decided to make myself some health potions and also some strength potions as well. I would be needing this. It is now time. It is now time. It is now time to go and defeat the Ender Dragon. So I gathered everything I needed for my chest, all my potions, armor, food, blocks, and equipment. All the stuff I would need for this fight. And before I left, I made sure to say goodbye to my pet dog, because this might be the last time I would ever see him. But it had to be done. And as I swapped over to the Ender Eye, I could see it had some accordions. So I had to look for the end portal. Should be around here somewhere. Okay? Here. It should be just here. Let me break these blocks and find out. And I was quite right. There it was. The end portal. So I placed in all the Eyes of Ender. And I entered the end. And there she was. The Ender Dragon. I knew what had to be done. I had to destroy the end crystals as soon as possible. So that's what I did. And I could tell the Ender Dragon was not happy whatsoever. She instantly tried to fire fireballs at me, but she missed. Whew. That was pretty close. So I proceeded to take down the rest of the end crystals. And there it was. All the end crystals have been destroyed. It is now time to take down the Ender Dragon once and for all. So I used my bow to do the most damage that I could, but then I was hit by the Ender Dragon and I fell, but luckily I landed into water. This fight could not go on for any longer. Oh no, it is now time to finish this once and for all. I could tell this was the end for the Ender Dragon. She was getting weaker and weaker by the minute, so I waited for the right opportunity and I struck, taking my final swing and defeating the Ender Dragon. There it is, we did it. So I happily gathered up all the XP and also gathered up the End Egg. I was not going to be leaving this behind. And there it is guys, we did it. But before I went home, I also wanted to go to the End City. So I made my way up to the End Gate, Ender powered through and got through to the other side. Hey, and I found myself some chorus fruit. So I decided to collect a few bits. I might need this. So I travelled for days and days, and then, finally, I found myself my very own first End City. So I entered the End ship, and there was a shulker. Luckily, I took care of him, and I found myself some pretty nice stuff. But of course, what we're all here for, the Elytra. Wow. There it is. We finally got the Elytra. Hey, and also I gathered up the Dragon Head. I would be needing this. Hey, and also I think it's time we test out this Elytra. And I have to say, it works perfectly. Wow. So the journey continues, and I found myself a second End City. And this place had so much loot. I mean, it was insane. And of course, I had to make sure I got the second Elytra as well. And there it is. We now have 2 Elytras. Well, I think it's now time we head back home. So we finally get home, and now what I wanted to do was to make a bit of a place for the End Egg to go. So that's what I did. And finally, on day 100, I place in the End Egg. And there it is. Wow, we finally did it. We finally survived 100 days in Fallen Fallen. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all next time. Peace out.